Hey guys, welcome to Soccerholics TV and the first trophy final of the season in England, the Carabao Cup. This morning I've come to the Queen and Beaver pub at Young and Dundas Square to capture the supporters club of Aston Villa as they hope to see their team overcome a dominant Manchester City to secure their first silverware since 2001. In the last two league meetings between these sides, the Blues have outclassed the Lions, winning 3-0 at home and 6-1 away. Up next, it's Aston Villa against Manchester City in the final of the Carabao Cup from Wembley Stadium. Final score from Wembley in the Carabao Cup final, Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 2. I'm here with fans from Aston Villa Supporters Club here in Toronto at the Queen and Beaver at Young and Dundas Square. Luke, Brett and Gary. So guys, first of all, obviously great to get to the final, to the Carabao Cup. We knew it was going to be hard going against Manchester City. Obviously, they killed you in the past two fixtures in the league. So you knew it was going to be tough going into it. But from what I saw, your boys played pretty well, but it was a disappointing result.
Yeah, I'm actually going to let Brett answer this first.
Go ahead.
It was a disappointing result. However, it was such a breath of fresh air, maybe just to have a break from the Premier League, if I'm completely honest. But you know what, today, this is all I asked for. I didn't really, obviously, don't get me wrong, like they're lifting the trophy now. That would have been really good to see us do it. But to see us play well, which we have lacked a lot this season. We have the potential to play well, we just haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
But this break, it's a big game, and it's not the Premier League. And if we lose, it doesn't matter. But we played well today. There's no, like, if anybody watched this game, they can't say that we didn't. Samatta, brilliant. His positioning, the way that he is with the ball, brilliant. I can't argue with. No one can say how well. I've argued with how well he played today. I can get more words out eventually. I'm proud of the club today. I'm proud of the fans. I'm proud of the way the players played. I can't argue with it. It's brilliant.
Proud of me,
I'm never proud of you, mate.
Gary, we've seen VAR prove very controversial this season, but the goal that they scored in the second to make them win the game should have been a goal kick and not a corner that resulted into the goal. So how do you feel about that as a fan? You feel a bit robbed?
No, absolutely disappointed, but at the end of the day, you know, VAR is still in its sensitive stages. We're aware of that. It's sad that we actually got the result was as a result of a VAR decision that wasn't the correct one. But you know, as Brett was saying, I thought the first half we sat back a little bit too much. I thought Foden was given far too much space. But the second half, the boys done us proud. I can't complain at all. I was expecting us, to be fair, to get a bit of a trouncing. So the fact that they held their own and we nearly got an equaliser right at the end, I'm proud of the boys, to be fair.
All right, Luke, now attention turns to the rest of the season. You're 1 point above the relegation zone and you're playing 4 of the top 6 teams in the rest of your fixtures. Obviously, the goal is to try and stay top for the next season.
For sure.
Are you worried about how you're going to do that?
No, I can hear what you're saying about us playing the top 6, and I agree with what you're saying. Yes, I still think we've got a good chance of winning the Premier League this year. So, consistent results. I think statistically we can still manage it, but no, jokes aside, we know where we're at. We know it has been a very disappointing season. We spent a lot of money. We can't bury our heads. We did. In fairness to us, we had to rebuild a squad. We lost a lot of players who weren't good enough, people who were maybe too old. They weren't quite a Premier League quality. So it was a bit of a test. Now, it was a depth problem, as Brett would say, and we have an interesting fixture list coming up. We really of the teams in that bottom fight. it's one of the hardest. But you look at the 90 minutes today, this was not a Man City that ran away with this. This is a Man City that won this game, let's not lie, through a goal that shouldn't have been allowed. Once again, we were robbed, right? But let's not harp on that. The boys played well, as Brett keeps saying, they play with passion, they play with desire, and they did what we want.
The second half. The first half was very, very stale for me. Second half, he must have put a rock up his backside, because at the end of the day, they came out fighting. I think that's what we want to see for 90 minutes. We're not seeing that currently.
Can I just say, we were playing Man City today. They're like, don't get me wrong, they are the cream of the crop, let's be honest. They are a phenomenal side. Their bench, you name the player on their bench, I'd snatch your hand off for him.
Premier League 2 teammate, they're under 23s, I'd snatch him up. But you look at the quality in that team, and just more to what the point there. Phil Foden, right? He's barely played all season. He single-handedly took us to the sword, and that is a player that, that's their background, that's their reserves. So for Villa to come out, positive signs. Samatta, I said it to you when we met before. I really never rated Wesley this season. I think Wesley's got a real battle on his hands when he comes back from fitness, because he's got to prove to Villa and he's got to prove to us what he can offer. Because what we saw in the 15-16 games he did was very little. Samatta is in the right position, he knows, and he's got goals in him. And with that now leading the line, Keenan Davis coming on there a little bit, that's good to have him. Hopefully he can keep himself fit. We've got potential, we just need to start picking up the points, because as we saw yesterday, we can't rely on the others around losing, because I think me and Brett might have said it was the worst day of football for us. Everyone won. Without Villa playing, it was terrible.
Let's talk about Jack Grealish. Now, he's a quality player that you have. Now, obviously, football is a business, as we know, so obviously a lot of controversy surrounding his future for next season. Do you know if Jack Grealish actually wants to stay at the club, or is it going to be a matter of the club will get a really good transfer fee for him, and he would just say, he doesn't really get to say, does he? Because he's,
I think we're in a better financial state than we were. I think at the end of the day, our owners don't need to sell him. I think the only reason if Grealish does go or decides to go is because either we get relegated or he just wants to move on. And he stayed with us when he didn't necessarily need to stay with us, and he's a phenomenal player. And we can't hold the reins of a phenomenal player. So
can I raise a point there? Yes. If Jack Grealish, wanted to leave. Grealish. I've been in Canada too long.
Jack Grealish, mate.
If he wanted to leave, look at before the end of last season, when we played Fulham, there was a lot of talk of him going to Tottenham. Apparently, according to Twitter, how much you want to believe of that or not, there was a deal done with Tottenham, and he said no, he wanted to spend the extra year with the Villa in the Championship, by the way, which is to help us get promoted. If he wanted to leave, if he was that sort of player that wanted to go, he'd already be at Tottenham. He'd be playing against us already. But if we do get relegated and he does leave, I'm a realist. If we get relegated, it's a chance. Like the money's on us getting relegated. Do I want to say no? Will we? Maybe. If he does go, I will then do nothing but thank him for what he's done at the club. He's a Brummie lad. He doesn't want to leave. He will always be a Villa fan. There's photographs of him, like myself, as a young boy, wearing Villa stuff. You can't hide that. So, if he does leave, I've got nothing but good words to say about him.
I'll just add one thing to that. I think Gary, what I love about Gary, he's a purist. He loves, and like Jack does, he loves this club, and Jack does. As Brett said, that's why he stayed, because the chance when he was a young boy kicking a ball around, for him that dream was to wear that shirt, the Villa shirt, and now he's captaining our team in the Premier League. For him, it's a dream come true. But we got to be realistic as well, as we've said. Exactly. But the realism is this. Unfortunately, Villa are not looked on in the way that they were 10 years ago. And I don't mean from like a Premier League, I mean from an international perspective. Now, Jack has ambitions, as any player, to represent his country, right? We're seeing the likes of Jesse Lingard still getting a look in when the guy can't get an assist or a goal. But why is that? And it's because he's at Man United. They're still seeing him as the top league team, and the England players are going to come from that. So for me, the only worry that I have is that if we do go down, or if we can't convince Jack that money is going to be put in, which I think it will if we stay up, to build the team back to hopefully to our glory days, then Jack has to go. Well, from my career and from my international perspective, I think I have to move on. But you know what? We get 80, 90 million. He's been a wonderful servant, as you've said. He's been a fantastic player. And you know what? He's given everything. So, Jack, if you end up watching this somehow, thank you. I think thank you for all
We've
of it.
also got O'Hare in the wings as well, who's putting up trees at Coventry right now, like Grealish did at Port Vale. And I have no doubt that guy will be able to step into Grealish's shoes and do really well for us.
Right, and then just a quick last question. Let's talk about John Terry's second season with the club. First in the Championship, now in the Premier League. Do you think he wants to stay as a number 2, or do you think he will want to become a manager maybe next season or another season after that?
That's up to him.
Yeah, I know. I just want to know what your thoughts are.
We know he's a Chelsea guy. We know that. There's no, it's like Jack had been Villa. We know Terry's a Chelsea guy. If he wants to stay, then
Base with Lampard as well. So who knows next season.
if he wants to stay, then I'm happy. I like what he's doing at the club. If he doesn't and he wants to move on and he gets a head coaching job, good luck to him. Thank you.
I think it's unrealistic. I'm a bit of a weirdo on this. I think it's a weird time in football. You know, if 15 years ago you said, a guy who's retired a year or two ago is now the Chelsea manager, you'd laugh at him. You know, Frank Lampard took Derby from 6th to 6th. He didn't actually, and I'm not knocking him, don't get me wrong, he's a phenomenal, one of England's all-time greatest players, but he didn't actually do enough to demand a top 5 or a top 4 team managerial position. I don't think Terry's done enough, and I think if he wanted to cut his teeth as a number 1, I realistically think he has to go below Championship or he has to go abroad, which I think there's a lot of ambition, and I think him and Smith, he can learn a lot in the same way that Arteta did under Pep. And he's not set the world on fire yet at Arsenal, but he took his time, and I think Terry, I would be very surprised if Terry moved on. It's happening, but I think he needs to learn a little bit more. You can't just dive into being a manager, you need to learn. Yeah, and what a great guy. Smith has obviously cut his teeth at Lower and he's really done the business. He's having a hard time at Villa, he is, but that's because he's learning about the Premier League. It's a different beast. It's a different beast.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have for. Thank you very much for having us here at your supporters club. We really enjoy it. Guys, please subscribe, like, comment below. Until next time, this is Ben saying thanks for watching Soccerholics TV.
Yeah, yeah.